Hi guys, it's me Ty coming from my home here in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. And today is officially my 3-month anniversary since the day I arrived here in Cambodia. And I'm still loving it. Phnom Penh is still just I'm so happy here. Actually today what I'm gonna talk about is I finally ate a frog for the first time in my life. Walking out of my home here, I see them on this cart all the time, but at first, I'm always kind of suspicious of street food vendors in any country wherever I go, because you look at the frog on there and you're thinking, could that be a rat? Did they put a rat on there to save money? And it's a lot more legit if you actually go to a nice sit-down restaurant and order it. Because even if you go to the Philippines, one of my roommates here he's from the Philippines, and he was telling me about where they recycle food that's been thrown into the landfill and the garbage cans. Like the poor people, they'll dig it out of there and they'll wash it, they'll wash the meat, wash the vegetables, and then they'll go ahead and resell it to people as street side vendors. So you definitely run the risk of getting sick. And I was like, man, that's terrible. And he's like, yeah, if you're not used to it, it could really raise hell with your stomach. So it almost made me feel like this is like a very common practice in the Philippines. So it's a good thing, like when I was dating my girlfriend there for a year outside of Manila, I always went to a sit-down restaurant. I never dared to go to a street food vendor. So yeah, I was what kind of pushed me over the edge to do it, I wanted to try it quite a while ago, but with my dental implant surgeries, I didn't want to be biting into anything. So I just happened to be watching one of Tom Trips Out's newest live videos that he did, live stream, and he went to this nice restaurant, and for $2.50 he ordered a dish that came with 2 frogs, and the frogs are on like a bunch of sprouts or whatever, vegetables. And I was like, oh, the neighbor lady here that sells them off of her cart, it's $1.25 for one, so it's the same price as he'd be paying, except that Tom had to buy 2 of them, and he gets to sit in a nice sit-down restaurant with the veggies and all that. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna eat one, because and it also really helped by watching Tom's video of how to actually eat one, because I never watched anybody eat one in my entire life either. And what Tom did is he just broke off the entire leg right at the hip bone, and I think he just stuck it all in his mouth and just like chewed around the bone, just chewed the meat off it and just reached in his mouth, pulled out the bone. And then for the body, what really surprised me, Tom just bit into the whole body and just ripped it all off and was chewing on it, chewing around the bones, and pretty soon he's sticking his fingers in his mouth and pulling out little bones and setting them on his plate. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can do that. And I talked to some of the Canadians here that pretty much only go to street sit-down restaurants. They're more fancy people around here or whatever, and I told them about it, and they're like, oh yeah, we're not afraid of frogs. They're like, we've had them before. They're like, they chop the head off at the shoulders, and they pull all the guts out of the animal, so you have nothing to worry about. All it is bones and meat. And I was like, oh, okay. So last night I went ahead and I bought one, and it was in the afternoon. It was like I don't know, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I know the lady always has them out in the morning. So they were all deep fried, and the meat was actually pretty darn cold, you guys. It was just like lukewarm. I thought she was gonna like stick it in the hot oil again just to warm it up, but she didn't. So she said, oh, do you want a bag or do you want a styrofoam container or whatever, like your doggy bag or whatever, when you go to a restaurant or whatever. And I was like, I better take the styrofoam container, because this is gonna be my plate when I eat it downstairs. And she is like, you want some hot sauce with it, or chili sauce or whatever? And I was like, sure, even though I had no intention of using that. And then she threw a lime in with it too. So I went ahead and I laid it out on the plate there, and I squeezed the lime all over it, and everybody claims it tastes like chicken, just better. So I went ahead and I broke off the kneecap, and I just went ahead and I picked all the meat off that lower bone there. And it tasted just like chicken, no better, no worse. It could have been that, you know, it was kind of sitting around all day too. Then I broke off the femur bone from the hip and picked all the meat off that. Then I did the other leg. And then after that, I pulled all the meat off of the pelvis of it, and I was able to break the pelvis off and throw that away. And then once we got to the main body of it, I was like, man, should I be like Tom Trips out and just bite into it? I was like, but I better not. So I started picking all the meat off of the back of the animal, and there it had the scapula and everything back there, and I was able to pick that off pretty easy. And then I picked it off the front, and the whole rib cage was still in there. So I'm glad that I didn't actually bite it all off, because those are really tiny little rib cage bones. And like actually like all the other bones in the animal, like the leg bone, they're actually pretty darn big. They're almost as big as like the small bones in a chicken. So yeah, I just always imagine that bones in a bullfrog were a lot smaller than that, but they're not. And then finally in the end of it, there was actually a lot of breading inside of the rib cage, inside that where they tore all the guts out of there, and they stuffed breading up in there, so that all tasted good. And it's pretty darn proud of myself after eating a frog, you guys. So all right, I'll leave the video there. And yeah, if you guys have ever thought about trying a frog, you know, it's only $1.25 for a frog here in Cambodia. I suggest you guys go ahead and do it. And I was worried about getting sick last night, and I didn't get sick from it, so I'd say I'm in the clear, hopefully. So all right, if you guys like this content, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll keep kicking out videos from my home here in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Take care.